Hey there, motorcycle and power sports news. This is Jackie Van Ham here at Fuel Cleveland. This absolutely stunning Triumph drag bike built by Jared Weems is your ride of the week.
So all exposed valves, so you can actually see the valves working.
No!
Exposed push rods, so you can actually see the push rods going up and down. I machined a cover inside the timing chest so you can see the oil pump working and the gears. I wanted it to like have the elements of a cutaway.
Has this been run?
Yeah.
And it still stays as clean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There's not a whole lot of oil. There's just kind of a residual splashing around in there, so it's not a whole lot of oil that gets done. That was a feat in itself. So this is actually acrylic. We had to make sure that it was the right material to be able to mold it to have a still because there is oil that's inside there, but also to be temperature resistant so that it doesn't melt and fall away off the motorcycle. But yeah.
Wow.
That was I got a good friend that works in the plastics industry, and we had to like figure out how to mold it and everything so it would be legit. So it was super fun, super cool. Some of the performance things have been done, like the exposed rockers have been done, the exposed push rods have been done, but none of this stuff has all been done on one motor before. So I just put it all together. When you're exposing the rocker arms and the push rods, you lose the complete top-end oiling system.
Right.
So this is just like an old Harley-Davidson JD, what's called total loss oil system. I have these little oil cups like right here, and you just put a couple drops in there before each run, and this is a drag bike, so it's only got to go a quarter mile at a time as fast as you could possibly go in a straight line. I also have those little oiler cups on the other side for the rocker arms to go across the top. So essentially what's really only left stock in this thing is the 56 is the engine cases. The crankshaft is a 1971 crankshaft inside of it. It's a lighter weight one-piece crank. The cylinder is a 750 big bore cylinder from Map Cycles out of St. Petersburg, Florida. And yeah, everything's been modified. The superchargers, an AMR 300, right now I have it set up running a 1-to-1 ratio, which puts about 6 pounds of boost. And then the fuel injector, super rare. They only made them just for a couple years out of England. A gentleman by the name of Wall Phillips, he was a flat track racer for Triumphs, and he designed these fuel injector systems. And so finding those, it's like hen's teeth, and I was just like, I just had to have it on this bike. So super cool. It's not a mechanical, well, it's a mechanical fuel injection, but it's gravity fed.
Okay.
So once you turn the throttle, the fuel just dumps straight into it. So what you have to do to start this bike, this process, because it's not a kickstart anymore, you roll the rear tire up on rollers, get it spinning, drop the clutch, turn the fuel on and hit the throttle.
Gotcha.
And then the bike runs. And once that, it has no idle circuit in it, so you are the idle. So you have to sit there and so if you hear like these old race bikes like wow, wow, wow,
yeah,
that's what they're doing.
Okay.
So, yep.
And this is a runner.
It runs, yes. Actually, you can go to my YouTube channel. You can see a video of me doing the first startup on it. Running is super cool. So otherwise on the frame, compared to a stock frame, I've extended the backbone 5 inches out. I turned the backbone actually into the oil tank, so this actually holds the oil. We dropped the neck 2.5 inches down to give it that really low, drag bike look. So compared to stock dimensions, that's relatively what it is. The swing arm, it's 2 pieces. It's actually 2 swing arms. I cut it right here in the center and took 2 left-hand sides, grafted them together so it wishbones, gives more room for the slick in the back. And then underneath are 2 hidden heim joints to adjust the ride height. So and it's been extended 3 inches out, so it's been stretched.
Fascinating. And then this paint, you were telling me this really great story about where this paint comes from, because I love how subtle it is, and I love the story of why. So can you just talk us through a little bit? This bike went to Born Free. This bike won one of the classes at Born Free.
Yep.
Congratulations, best competition bike. And then your thought process behind this paint, can you go into that a little bit for us?
Sure. So the paint, when I was building the bike, I'm such a British purist. I love all things British. And so when I was building the bike, I was actually on my way to, it was Fuel Cleveland last year, actually.
Oh.
Because I had already found out I was an invited builder, and I was like, we were on our way up, and I was driving down the interstate, and I got passed by this car. And my wife was in the car, and I was like, oh my God, that's the color I want to paint the bike. And so I literally sped up to catch up, and I seen that it was an Aston Martin DB11. And so I was like, okay, I got to remember that because paint's going to be a few months down the process. So when it came time around, I had reached out to Aston Martin and said, hey, I'm building this British motorcycle for a national level competition, and I'd love to have British paint on this British bike. Can I get the paint codes to the DB11? And the color is actually called China Gray. They were a little reluctant at first, but then they actually allowed it to happen. So we got the paint codes. Bike's been painted by Milkbone out of Orlando, Florida. Did an amazing job. He was a little nervous to do it at the beginning because it's such a high level show, but I think he knocked it out of the park. Everything on it, everything is paint. There's no graphics or anything on this bike, so he did an amazing job on it. Yeah.
But I love that your thought kind of was, and correct me if you're wrong, but we were discussing a little bit before we got on camera, that your thought of keeping this paint really, really muted is meant to really highlight, really honestly, the frame and engine work that you've done on this machine versus doing the like mega flake sparkle paint, you know, all of the flames and all the trick stuff that you see at Born Free and other competitions. Your thought was to go the opposite in order to really emphasize the engine and the performance of the bike. Absolutely,
and going out to Born Free, you know, like I said, it's like a sea of chrome and glitter when you walk out to the field. And,
I mean, beautiful chrome.
Absolutely,
beautiful
I've
glitter.
done that. Yeah, in some ways it would have been much easier to do that than it would be to do this. But I wanted to almost like give people's eyes a moment, like a break away from all the shininess, and really kind of process what's going on here. And it was really cool to be out there and had a few people like, they'd go up and like, okay, cool, and then they'd stop and like come back and they're like, what the world? And then they have to like really dig in. And that was the whole idea when I built it. I was like, I didn't want the first take. I wanted that person to like, wait a second, what's going on here? There's a lot more going on in this thing. So I think it was a fun process. Will I do it again? Not like that. It's easier to do chrome and shiny. Yeah. It is. I mean, it's just you just have to reprocess your mind to think subdued, but like really nice subdued things. So.
Well, there's a ton of details on this bike, and you nailed it. When you unloaded it out of the trailer, I was like, oh, it's a drag bike. Like, that's cool. Yeah, and then as we get here looking at it, I'm like, look at how clean this is, and all the internals and everything is just so right and so tidy.
Well, thank you.
It's really, really stunning. Thank you for taking the time to talk us through this incredible machine.
Absolutely.
Jared Weems, and this is your Ride of the Week.